How are you doing? My name is Brandon Gagnon, and this is my discoveries for Watson 2. If there's any questions about the data, there's a link inside the first slide, and then going into the dashboard, I picked these four slides because I personally thought they were the most interesting in the aspect of just out of all the questions, I figured these were probably the easiest to talk about. So the breakdown for the research and development part by region and division. This is so important just because companies will usually alter their budgeting with their research and development, especially when they hit hard times. But research and development plays a crucial role in helping um, the income, the revenues, by figuring out what the customer wants to see. Um, this is more of an example that is more logical than research and development based, but if you have an axe and you're trying to figure out where it's going to sell better, if it's going to sell in Florida, where there's not really that many people who are chopping down trees, um, versus Montana, where you have a bunch of woods, you have winter, which you actually need to chop wood in to keep a fire going, then odds are, in the long run, selling axes in Montana versus Florida would be the better choice. So by keeping research and development, situations like this, keeping a product or getting rid of a product to generate more revenues can be beneficial in your favor. I thought this one was interesting, the percentage of obesity by region. Going into this question, I personally figured that the places like the West would have more seasonal depression and would kind of figure people would partake in eating as a comforting way to deal with the seasonal depression. I figured honestly the South was the least, but as we can see by the statistics, that my hypothesis was flipped. So for percentage of high school diplomas and percentage of homeless, this can be confusing when you look at it at first, but the percentage of high school diploma, this is talking about like their grades, like the averages, the average GPA. But it's based off a 0 to 100. Obviously, 90 to 100 would be an A, and 80 to 89 would be a B, so forth and so on. And then this just demonstrates that not every single homeless person was there because, they weren't smart enough or they weren't good enough. Sometimes there were just issues that they had in their life that made them become on the streets. And then for the last one, I chose this. I chose the heat map of the earnings by state just because part of it, I was kind of curious maybe if it had something to do with the obesity um, levels, if maybe like the higher income uh, states would choose to kind of indulge a little bit more in desserts or whatnot, or if the poorer states would be more likely to buy the processed foods and would contribute to the obesity rates. Now, when it comes to Watson, the main thing I learned was it was actually a very simple program to learn instead of like say Access. Um, Watson is very simple in the aspect of it's kind of like working with a partner who's always there for you. So they're thinking outside the box. It's very nice because if I stalled in a certain part of it, I can ask it one of the 30 questions and it can kind of get my gears running in my head again. And also too, just it generates the visuals so fast. And if you were to do it just say through Word, you'd have to make the tables and do all these different things. While in Watson, if you have the Excel sheet, then everything else is already said and done. Thank you very much.